Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. Kind of missed you. I mean, granted, you probably would have missed us yelling and swearing during the watch long if we were there for it, but uh,
Oh yeah.
it's a little bit of a tough one. Not really, to be honest with you. It's kind of what I expected it to be, right? A nitty gritty snooze fest in a sense, where whoever squeaked by with one would win this game. But I think the one thing I didn't predict was the magnitude of those chances that we created in the first half that we flopped on. I think had one of those gone in, I think we would have cruise controlled the entire second half of that match. But without further ado, we're here to recap Torino Juve, and potentially, if some of you guys want to speak your pieces, we'll drop the link out for you guys to call in as well. Again, Dave is in Macedonia eating some Macedonian cookies or some other stuff. If you want to go on Discord, Dave actually has all the food that he's slobbering on Discord. But we do have German Dave here, and German Dave, hopefully he didn't lose his shit at the birthday parties watching this one, did ya?
Oh, I nearly lost my wife and everything because I cursed in front of the family for the 10 minutes I watched and then immediately turned it off. So I got into trouble.
Yeah. Oh man. Really kind of expectations of this match, right? So kind of in opening and also in the pre-match video that was released last night, yesterday morning, or this morning for folks. I expected it because, like, for example, I think people need to stop sleeping on Torino's defense. Torino defensively is one of the more solid teams in Serie A. People can sit there and be like, it's a mid-table club, you should walk around them and blah blah blah. Guys, besides Inter, Torino have the second most clean sheets in the league. So I knew with the expectations going in, it was not going to be clean. It was going to be ugly. Especially being the derby, it's going to be an ugly affair to get at least one goal, right? I knew there was going to be one opportunity, one shot, one opportunity. However, I didn't expect a certain individual to shank not even one, but two opportunities point blank in front of goal. And the first one is inexcusable. That one, Ducey boy, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Every time he does the stupid shirt celebration where he tugs the back of his jersey, he goes into an absolute rut for 3 to 4 weeks. So if I am the Juventus management, I am foregoing finding the shit out of him every time he does that celebration, because the first chance, that's inexcusable. Chiesa playing on the right side where he plays best. Nice through ball.
The goal was
Instead,
wide open.
wide open. Wide open. All you need to do is put it on your right foot, stop trying to do it with your left, and you would have had the entire net to play with. Whereas him playing with his left foot only gives him a small area to tap it in on, especially in the direction
Uh,
that it's coming.
I'm sorry, but there is no excuse to not finish that. And it doesn't matter on which foot the ball lands. He was literally like 3 yards away from the goal. And you have to finish that. If it's with your left foot, with your right foot, with your balls, with your stomach, with your chest, with your head, or whatever. From there, with the goal wide open, you have to finish that. There's no excuse like hitting the post on that one.
No, and even with the second opportunity that he was given, takes a very heavy touch and just tries to poke it through the legs, and it's stuff like that that just makes me get extremely frustrated, right? Because, like, for example, those are big chances, those are clear cut chances. They're like it's just one of those things where I just want Chiesa and Dusan to be on at the same exact time, because right now you get one or the other. You don't really we don't really get both of them at the same time. It's more so either Dusan's doing really well and Chiesa's playing like shit, or Chiesa's playing really well and Dusan's missing sitters. And this game was, for the first half, Chiesa was playing well. I think Chiesa was playing a little bit too unselfish. There's times where if I were Chiesa, I would have taken the shot instead of trying to force a ball to McKennie for a header. That didn't make sense to me. Chiesa had the angle. It's just, I think this is the theme of this team. And even, like, for example, with Rabiot at the death of the game, why is it just impossible for this current roster of players, just for one moment, take the game by the balls. Like, for example, Rabiot in the last 15 seconds of the match passes the ball off to Illing when he had a potential shooting lane on his left foot. Like, that to me is like, dude, you can talk all this shit on the interviews and say how you're a leader and how you're this, but I just saw you in clutch time defer the ball to a 21-year-old. Like, is there any guys on this roster besides maybe Bremer or Danilo that have balls that are willing to take opportunities to make something happen out of nothing? Maybe
I
Gatti.
think Yildiz, I think if you give him the minutes to get some consistency, he would be potentially one that, he would be the one that I trust the most on our whole offensive line to have maybe the one genius moment going with the head through the wall and creating something with it.
Like the issue that we have with Yildiz, right, is you have two 50+ million stars ahead of them. So
Yep,
it's always that's the issue, right? That's why Yildiz
you have
doesn't
to
get the
play,
minutes where I think he needs.
you have to play them if they perform or not, because their value will tank if you sit them on the bench. So you have to start them in hopes of them like having one genius moment that at least keeps their value the same. And that is the problem with high paid and high value starting players that don't produce. They're taking the spot of a youngster that actually gives his heart into it, but just by financial and by the financial, by the business side, you have to play those bumps that earn the most money.
Yeah, and it was funny because I was listening to Paramount Plus. Unfortunately, I had to deafen my ears to that. But the main argument: we've been beating our drums. Why not play Yildiz, Chiesa, and Dusan all at the same time? Here's the thing, bud. It leaves we don't have fullbacks, proper fullbacks to play that 4-3-3. So, and when you play a team like Torino, who, if you add the combined touches between both of their both of their wing backs combined for 100 touches. And we were struggling in the second half with dealing with their pace, especially when Illing got subbed in. When we subbed out Kostic, that left side was getting torched because Illing cannot do anything besides take 2 or 3 dribbles and whiff a ball, honestly. So it's like we look at that and it's like, yeah, I've been beating my drums. Why is Juventus playing so cowardly? Why are they playing back? This is Juventus. And it's like, bro, tell me you haven't watched a Juve in the last 2 years without telling me. Do you not understand that these players that are currently rostered right now, besides an exception of 3 to 4 players, are not Juventus caliber players?
No.
They aren't. They are a Fiorentina, maybe, a Lazio, or potentially Roma caliber, because there's no X
Yeah.
factors here. They have them, but they're ridiculously inconsistent. And again, we have a midfield that has, and combined touches, all of them have combined to at least over nearly 200 touches this game with our midfields. How many touches? Like, for example, you know what? We'll have some fun here. I'll show the stats here. And this player, and he has been getting on my nerves and will continue to get on my nerves until I see proper progression. And let's look at him again. Locatelli, 80 touches overall in the game. How many touches in the opposition box? Just one for that shot that he absolutely shanked. How many passes into the final third? 8.
If you want, I have here the passing stats for the whole game of every player. I can put them on the screen if you want to.
Here, I'll switch it over.
There
you
go. So here's the graphic with all the touches. Locatelli 80 touches, which is, but stats like, first of all, like 0 crosses, like not a single like actual ball, like passes that only, and he had only 8 passes that into the final third. And also like an expected assist of 0.03, so nothing dangerous. According to the stats, to me, it looks like, again, just dink and dunk passes and everything, and that's how he got the 88 percent pass percentage. By the same, like, there's no passing, no creativity, like nothing. It's just passing the ball in the midfield around, passing it back to Danilo, who I still don't know why he has the most passes in our whole team, or the most touches, passes and everything. I just don't understand.
Yeah, and it's extremely frustrating when you look at those numbers, because it's like, for example, Locatelli, who is supposed to be your conductor, your regista, has 0 chances created, and Danilo has 1. And it's like, for example, again, with
Even
the accurate
Rabiot,
long balls, Danilo's more.
even Rabiot
Yeah,
has 1.
and Rabiot's is not a creator. Rabiot's not supposed to be a creator. I do have issues with him also as well, but for me, again, it's Manuel Locatelli. I've said it yesterday. I said Locatelli is the only player outside of Chiesa and Dusan, maybe more important than both of them, who can really break through this Torino defense. And again, he plays passive, afraid, not willing to do anything. There's only so much folks can sit there and say, "Oh, well, Allegri tells guys, man, if you don't have that personality to be that dog, you just don't have it." And he doesn't. And it's extremely frustrating, because I watch it time and time again where, oh, he's got 88% accuracy, and it's like, okay, great. I would have 100% accuracy too if I'm just passing to Danilo, who's on my left shoulder all the damn time. There's
Yeah.
no
On only 5 we would all be like above like 85% pass average, but he's getting paid millions to do that, so I expect more. Sorry, but I just expect more. And by the way, that is to all our midfield. The problem is why we talk about Locatelli this much since the end of January, is because he is the guy that receives the ball first, and we are depending on him to create something, to push the ball forward, to pass it through to the other midfielders, to share it to the wings or whatever, just to create like some sort of maybe overlap situations, some counter situations, passing it through the opponent midfield to create maybe once in a game at least something through the middle. Like, we aren't able to do anything from the midfield, because all of them can pass or create something from the midfield, but the problem is that he's the first guy that should receive the ball, and if the first guy isn't available to receive and share the ball, then you can't build up nothing.
No.
And
No.
sorry, but it's not the coach that is telling them, hey, completely omit the midfield or completely omit creating from the midfield. It's no coach in football ever went to his players and said, "Hey, just pass it to the left and right center back and try to create from there and completely play in a U shape around your midfield." No coach is telling you that, because football doesn't work that way. You have all 3 phases. You have the defense, the attack, and the midfield that is binding the two. And if you miss a whole third of your formation that doesn't help or give you anything, you can't create any dangerous situations. And the few that we create, we have to goddamn convert them.
And here's the add on to it. Torino were piling players on the wings, knowing, because that's where we were coming. Their weakness was in the middle. Buongiorno missed Dusan twice, and it gave Dusan those really big opportunities. I am still on that train where I don't think Buongiorno is this high-touted defender that people keep saying. I think he's just being covered by playing in a back 3, but Dusan blew past him for that first opportunity that he shanked, unfortunately. And like, Torino's middle of the park was weak. Their outside play was really damn good. However, it's just no one on this roster recognizes the openings and the opportunities, and then again they shy away from the pressure. It's like almost like this entire second half they were like, "Oh shit, we didn't get it. Oh no," and they freaked out and they turtled up. They legitimately turtled up, and it's a consistent issue.
Yep.
Like it is. There's no difference on it. In this game, there's no excuse because of the amount of control that they had, the amount of touches, the amount of everything that these guys had. And it's like I don't understand why shut it off in the second half. And it's like Torino essentially what our defense was doing, what people were like, oh, they're letting Torino play with the ball. They were forcing Torino to take outside shots, waste opportunity to hit them on the counter. But the problem is we can't counterattack because we don't have a 5 that can facilitate a counterattack. The issue is the counterattack is being facilitated by Gatti, Bremer, and Danilo, who are forcing long balls to try to make something happen. Because the way that you beat this Torino is you force them to go forward. You want to take Belanova and you want to take Vojvoda? Voivoda. You take those two players and you force them to play very high up, which exposes Rodriguez, which exposes Tameze, and it exposes Buongiorno because all three of them are slow, and Buongiorno can't mark anyone to save his life one-on-one. And then you hit them with a counterattack. But guess who is supposed to facilitate that? It's Locatelli, and he's not doing it. And that is where the issue is, because when you look at this map, when we look at this here, when Danilo has to facilitate a counterattack, he has to send a ball past Rabiot, past Kostic to Chiesa, which Torino are marking with 3 to 4 players in that area, versus where Locatelli just takes the ball and Locatelli has the entire option of the field, which forces Torino to spread out wide and gives you opportunities tactically. Because if Danilo's facilitating the counterattack, Torino know, hey, he's not playing to our left flank because that ball will take too long to get there. It's not going to transition at all. Versus where you have Locatelli who can play to the left or to the right, which then causes Torino to have a second of hesitation, which then allows a Chiesa, which allows a Cambiaso, which allows a Kostic to find space. But we're not doing that. Because in all honesty, and I'm not afraid of the Champions League qualification spots, because now more than likely there's going to be a 5th place. More than likely. Mathematically, we're not...
Number one, that, and we can thank the gods, the football gods, and whoever is helping us that Bologna also tied, so we didn't lose like any points on that.
I thought Monta was supposed to be this offensive savior, but apparently he can't beat Monza, right? At home.
Hey, we were first on the train to tell that everybody.
I'm telling folks, look at the stat. Look at the offensive stats between the two. Pragmatic. Both Juve and Bologna are pragmatic.
Oh yeah. Let's go for a second to some football tactics 101. If you don't have a midfield and depend on your center backs building up, so that means you are pulling the defender that has the ball forward. So that guy, sorry, but our defenders are not the best dribblers. They lose the ball all the time, and also they're not the best passers. They're just okay passers. So when a defender moves forward and loses the ball, which happens actually like more often than not, unfortunately for us, what does that mean? We lose the ball around the midfield because our defenders dribbling through got them up in the box sometimes. We lose the ball. And what does that mean? You have one defender the back line. And that makes you susceptible to counterattacks. And like this building from the back line, which we are doing because we don't have a midfield, is goddamn dangerous. We are just like lucky that got that hasn't been used properly on us yet. But that is goddamn dangerous if you expect on every single attack nearly for your defenders to take a dangerous dribble or the dangerous pass, and then lose the ball immediately, and you're under threat of constant counterattacks. And that actually like happens because also Locatelli, like he's a tweener. He does like if you have a defender dribbling forward, you have to have your 6 or your 5 or whatever he calls himself to cover that position and fall back into the back line. So you have a lack of a player there. And he doesn't even do that. We stay basically with the 2-man because our wingbacks are always that fast. This is a very in the knife's edge, like it doesn't seem that way, but it's actually very dangerous. And this way, this has, and like in my opinion, actually to change. So either we have our midfield or goddamn make Locatelli a center back.
Yeah, and Yusuf following up here saying it also looks like the past games the team plays with the mentality of any point is a good point, which explains the lack of urgency even at 0-0, which is why we try for 20 minutes and just lock it down. That's the feeling that I got watching this game. With the mindset was like 1 point, we're good, we're happy. That's kind of what I've like, for example, what I've also seen as well, because it's like I look at it and it's more so of they almost in their mindset are like, we've qualified for Champions League, especially now that they beat Fiorentina. They're more like in a nook where they're kind of like, oh, I think we're good now. We're not mathematically there, but it's going to take like a royal fuck up to get there. And that's why they kind of coasted today. They're like, hey, let's fancy our chances in the first half. If we get anything cool, if not, whatever, we'll just get a point because at the end of the day, we'll be fine. That's kind of the mentality that they have, because even if we drew and Bologna won, they'd still be 2 points behind. So that's why they're kind of like, whatever, it is what it is. Because they honestly think at this point, because we are, and Roma does have a game in hand, but say that Roma drop points, or we're not even competing with Roma because the 5th spot's going to be the Champions League spot. So you have Atalanta where you're 13 points ahead of Atalanta, but they have 2 games in hand. So it could shift really quickly. Which is why I don't understand, this lack of urgency. Where Torino, with all respect to Torino needs to actually try to get results, needs to try to win, because that 8th place could be a potential Conference League place for them. So there was a sense of urgency for this Torino game.
Honestly, do you know what I'm hoping? Do you remember when we said that Atalanta has to win their Europa League? They'll get the automatic Champions League spot, and that means Serie A would have 6 Champions League spots.
I would be shocked. I don't think that is it possible. I don't think it is. I think you would take the.
They are up 3-0 right now. I think yes, because they are automatically qualified for the Champions League. Then they fall out, and you have the team that is 6th basically taking their spot as well, in addition to the 5th Champions League squad you get because of the coefficient.
Yeah,
I believe. I think
maybe because usually they would just take it away from one of the top 5 teams from it. I don't know if it's different, but I know back then they used to. Like, for example, say that I remember Chelsea stole when they won the Champions League. They were like 10th or 11th on the table, but they stole a Champions League spot from like the 4th place team, something like that. I know their rules and regulations are really shaky, especially when they change it all the damn time. But kind of looking at this from the board here, I kind of wanted to illustrate it for folks here. So normally when we play, this is essentially how we look to an extent. So when you look at this, and it's almost like we're playing, and this is the one thing I kind of want to draw to your guys' attention and see if you guys notice it when we play a game. Because Loca usually is like this. This is how our entire roster, it's a big giant circle. And then you have these guys that are all, branched out over here and out wide. and then you'll have Danilo and Loco be out here on the edge, hiding behind a defender, and then you'll have these guys like this.
And by the way, look at that wide space that is open right there if a midfielder just would be there.
So if this gentleman occupied this space like he's supposed to, look at the options that he would have. And then if we were to erase this and look at it from a counterattacking perspective, and this is one of the things that I've been harking on. So, like for example, you have your Rabiot, you have these guys. So say that these guys are playing a little bit deep, trying to cause some havoc here. So I'll move here. And then when we're attacking from here, and say that you have Locatelli that holds this area here, you'll have Chiesa and Dusan that'll be up here, and these players will be here. So you'll have your center backs occupy this space because that's how Torino were playing to an extent. So Loca, usually in a counterattack, will hide here or hide here. So then that means the ball goes to Danilo, and Danilo needs to loft it over these players to find this space for anything to happen. Same thing for Gatti as well. Gatti has to dump the
That
ball.
happens all the damn time, and it drives me crazy.
Yep. So Gatti has to dump the ball there. So if Loca is actually here in this middle position where he's supposed to be and has the ball, we move this. Now he has options. I can go this way. I can go this way. And this forces Torino to essentially try to drop everything back roughly at the same amount of pace. Because of this, you're going to find gaps. And if he's that good of a passer as people tout him to be, he can find Chiesa in stride. He can find Dusan in stride. He can find Cambiaso in stride. There's the amount of packages you can come at with this are ridiculously numerous. If you had that, like for example, if it's Jorginho, he would cook in that opportunity. But the issue is when we're not doing it like that, when the ball is at Danilo, that means so these guys need to try to counter and force something. So what Torino then does is they force everything this way in anticipation that they're going to win the ball. So Danilo sends the ball. It gets one over here. Then look what you have here. You have all of this space for these guys to come in and to do something at this side of the field. And that's what they were doing. Because what Torino were doing and what Ivan Juric did, and he did this quite well, was he was identifying, okay, we're winning the ball on the left side of the field. So that means we need to send the ball to the other side of the field because that's where they're thin. And that's where we can put a cross in. Because Torino were not trying to dribble through the middle. This is not what Torino wanted. They didn't care about this spot. Torino wanted the isolation here so they can free up Duvan Zapata in the middle. Their game plan was take the wings, send the ball, let Duvan do whatever Duvan does, right? That is the main game plan of how they approach this game. If they couldn't find Duvan, essentially their plan B, take a shot from here, hope that Szczesny spills it for Duvan. That is the main game plan. I saw that from the first 10 minutes of Torino, how they attacked. That was the game plan. It's easy for us because and it's easy for us to counter it because you have Bremer who is tall and aggressive. You have Gatti who is tall and aggressive. You have Danilo who is tall and aggressive. So the crossing, it was easy for our defense to telegraph it. Easy. The time that we struggled is when Kostic wasn't there and Illing was in the box, occupying the box. That's when they had that free header that Szczesny was able to save. Because I know, and this is what irritated me about the Paramount Plus announcers. Oh, man, their defense is great, but it's only a matter of time. It's like, dude, when Danilo, Bremer, and Gatti were not on a player in the box, that is what happened because Illing was loosely marked there and wasn't paying attention. Gatti, Bremer, and Danilo were doing what they were supposed to be doing. The issue is no one on the offensive side was doing anything in the second half. And that's where it's extremely frustrating because you look at things like that and it's just like, dude, this team is just not it. These players are not it.
No.
Like it's just that's the case. And I hate saying it. And, I don't like dunking on the players because, it's not very Tifosi like, but these guys are just, I'm sorry, they're just entitled children.
It's not dunking on somebody. It is being realistic and knowing what we have and what we don't have. And that's it. We have defenders that are good at defending, but not much more. We have midfielders that are physical, but not much more. And we have strikers and attackers that miss all their goddamn chances, which also good. Thank you for creating some chances, but also thank you for missing them.
Yeah, like I said, for me, this game was exactly within my expectations. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't disappointed. To be honest with you, I wasn't. I would have, if we lost, I would have been disappointed. But I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to be a gritty game. I knew it was, air quotes, a snooze fest. I knew it was going to be tough. For me, I think the only thing that caught me off guard was we actually had clear cut chances that we didn't take.
Yeah, and that is what rubs me again the wrong way. Yeah, the game was like we expected. Like it was like both teams tried to shithouse the other teams, and I was shocked that dude, we had 3 shots on goal and 2 big chances, which is one more big chance than I expected. But we missed all 2 big chances. And if you're in this position where the game is tight, where you're sorry, but the momentum charts, the ball possession, dude, when did we ever have the ball more than the opponent? Like we actually had some control over the game. I'm not saying like we were dominant or anything, but in the first half we were clearly better. And if you don't convert your chances, you're in danger of losing one of these games. And this is what had me what had me angry in the birthday party like earlier. If you don't convert your chances in a game like this, the likelihood of you losing is very high, because this is football goes this way typically. You don't convert, the opponent shithouses one goal like into your net, and all of a sudden you lost the game that you thought you were in control of. And football is karma, like so many times. Like how it happens in every league for every team. If you don't convert chances, a promoted or a relegation team or whatever, like they can shithouse just one goal in, and boom, that's 3 points lost. So the few chances you have to convert them. And there's not much to say on it. Hey, I'm honestly happy that we drew it, because this game had written all over it that we lose all of a sudden by 1 goal, and I'm just happy that we didn't lose it in the end.
And exactly, right? And that's where, for me, and you can say that, I've lowered my expectations and lowered my standards and all that other baloney, but it's just looking at this objectively, looking at what you have, looking at, because, like, for example, Torino has everything to play for. Like, they have everything to play for. Whether folks want to admit that or not, that's honestly the truth. They can qualify for Europe. Unfortunately, their schedule doesn't seem like it. But from a player experience, and here's the irony of it, and to kind of piggyback on what German Dave is saying, is I've played in matches where there's opportunities that were clear cut and that we should have taken them and we missed them.
Yeah.
Only for us to lose in the second half of that game. And those are the games that
every game, and every football game, and every football league, from juniors to amateur leagues to the actual like pro leagues, it happens at every stage of football. Convert your goddamn chances, and if you have 2 big chances means 90 to 100%, oh man,
what's funny though?
Apparently
Apparently Serie A doesn't tell people what constitutes as a big chance. Because they said that on the commentary.
It depends on FODMOB and FBref and Pressbox and everything.
I think that's like one of the modern mysteries, modern marvels on what is a big chance. Because, like, for example, if you look at the expected goals, Juve's expected goals are 0.83. Where it's like, I look at that Dusan chance and I'm like, is that really less than a 0.83?
Yeah, because he hit the post. The actual like percentage that it goes in is higher. That's why it's considered a big chance. But the XG is lower on it because he hit the post and it didn't went like towards the actual net, and that lowers the XG because it's not considered as 100% shot on goal.
That's because I'm sitting there. I'm like, that has to be a 1. Like, I
Yep.
was like, that's easily a
Yep.
1, but it
Yep.
just
And by the way, on a 0.86 XG, you have to score 1.
you have
I'm
to.
sorry. I'm sorry, but you have to. If your name is Federico Chiesa, and you think the second coming of Trezeguet or whoever, or Del Piero, and you have Vlahovic, and you just cost 80 million and tucked your name on the shirt and whatever. I'm sorry, but on a 0.86 XG, you have to score 1 goal.
You have to. You have to. And I've always, and it's, I don't know, it's just like, for example, I liked what Chiesa was doing on the right side of the pitch today. I liked Chiesa was moving.
Yeah, I like him
He
on the
was
right
moving
side.
great. Like, he was
Yeah,
moving great.
yeah,
Like, I liked the way that he was moving, occupying space, dropping in deep to
yeah,
receive the ball, facilitating play. And it's just like, I think for me, it's like for Chiesa, I think there's like no balance for him. Like, he's either extremely unselfish or extremely selfish.
yeah,
Like today was one of those, like, I was still baffled that he had the angle, he had the shot, but he crossed it to McKennie instead of taking a shot from, his
yeah,
favorite in an
yeah,
opportune spot where it's just like, I'm like, dude, just take the shot.
yeah.
And then
Dude, that pass to Vlahovic was pure sugar. Like, he played them wide open. It went perfectly behind between the defensive line and between the goalkeeper. It was picture perfect, and then the dude hits the post from 3 yards.
yeah, no, I know, and and that's the thing that it's just extremely frustrating, right? Because like he's hitting these headers from corner kicks and these clutch goals, and then it's like you look at it and it's like, dude, like this one's simple. Like it really is. But it's just like for me, for some reason, I just think he can't mentally, he just cannot rationalize his opportunities or because like for example, if you put Zapata on the other end of that pass that's going in,
Yeah,
like if Zapata received a pass like that, that's a
yeah.
goal.
No,
That's a goal.
100%. Do you know, like, what I think the problem is with Chiesa? If he plays on the left side, he tries his usual cuts, dribbling like right in between 2 defenders, cutting and going for a shot with his right foot. And that gets blocked all the time, and like barely creates like any dangerous actions in the game. The most of the time he's dangerous is when he plays on the left side, that is where he is actually selfish and it hurts us. And all the time he plays on the right side, he's an unbelievable facilitator of the ball. And that's where he is unselfish, because he has to create with the right foot, because he has to pass and to cross it, because he can take a shot with his right foot from the right side, because that makes it, of course, more difficult to hit shots on goal. And I think that is where he is most dangerous, and where we are most dangerous as well. If he has to facilitate with his right foot, and we completely take off his mind to be the scorer, have him be the facilitator, and that is where we are best, in my opinion.
And then it's like if you can only imagine if he actually knew how to incorporate both sides and play as an actual number 10, he would probably be an
Yeah,
elite player. He
yeah,
probably would.
yeah,
It's just, he's 26, 27 years old and he still hasn't figured that out. And that's what kind of surprises me. It is just
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
look, and there's not, and we're not beating on him, right? I thought he had a
No,
great game.
he played really good today.
Yeah.
He played really, really good today. That pass was sugar. He should have the man should have had an assist today, and he only did like didn't have his assist on his stat sheet, because like
It was
we
just
had the
because of
post
that.
for. Yep.
The main focus, the main frustrations that I have are going to be Locatelli, and then as well as Rabiot. I think those two are just really starting to get on my nerves because it's like, for example, and I know Vlad loves Rabiot, right? I understand that, but he continues to show me that he
Yeah.
is a luxury piece for a great team.
Yeah.
He is a luxury piece for a great team. And that last drive at the end of the game where he has an open lane to take a shot, and, for the amount of times of much of he's calling himself a leader and saying this, he deflects it off to Illing Jr. And Illing, not expecting the ball, gets stuffed, ball gets kicked out, goal kick, end of the match. So for me, that tells me that he's not a foundational piece for this rebuild that is going to happen in the
Yep.
summer. Unfortunately, like, even though the news is saying that Rabiot is likely to leave, but it's just, for me, he's a guy that goes to a Man City, that goes to a Bayern Munich, that goes to a Real Madrid, that comes off the bench.
Yeah.
That's honestly what he is. And, like, for example, if you look at, and people, yeah, he starts for France. I understand that, but you look at that team. That France team is jacked. They're really good. And he's
Yeah.
not the foundational piece for those teams. He's just kind of
Yep.
an additional piece, an
And
additional
and
resource.
by the way, France are on full strength. Like, he doesn't even start for France anymore. He only started the international games now because Chouameni, they rotated him out of the squad sometimes, and Kamavinga as well. That is right now their current midfield setup, and have Griezmann as the midfielder up top. So he basically has become a rotational midfielder for the French national team as well. Like, he gets used when one of them is rotated out the squad or injured or whatever.
Yeah, the only two in this midfield, the only bona fide starter, like the only bona fide foundational starting piece, is McKennie for the United States. Luka does not start for Italy, nor
Yep.
should he.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rabiot. I mean, like, for example,
And
go ahead.
and McKennie is also just a borderline starter for me. If we
Yeah.
had a different had a different option for McKennie, I love him, but I would take somebody else. The reason why he starts though, and why I would keep it for now, is just his grinta, and he plays with heart all the time. Like 80% of the assists he had this season are on pure grinta, where he runs like his heart out to the touchline and keeps the ball like in onside the pitch by somehow, and gets it into the box. Like, his assists are all pure grinta, and that's what we love about him. And if you can't create anything from passing, show me at least on the field that you're playing for the shirt or for your fans or whatever. Because McKennie is showing that. At least we know he's not the most talented midfielder in Serie A, but he's showing that he gives everything for the club. And if you have a lack of talent, at the least you can expect in all of sports, it's not just football. If you have a lack of talent, you have to at least play your heart out on the field, on the pitch, on the hardwood, or whatever. And that is bare minimum to me, that you show me maximum effort. Sorry if that is too much expectation for some of them.
Yeah, and that's where, I always get shocked when I hear, like, commentators like, this is Juventus, they need to. It's like, dude, man, can you pundits do your damn job and actually
No,
understand
they
what the
have
situation is?
no freaking idea.
It's just, there's no clue, there's no understanding on what's going on and why it's going on the way that it is, and it's just, dude, come on, man. Like, seriously, research your crap. Like, this is getting frustrating where, oh, they've got an amazing, no, it's not actually an amazing team, guys. It's not. And, like, for
It's an
example,
above average team.
it is an
Nothing.
above average team. And here's the thing, right? Inter is the best defense in the league. And I want to break this taboo that people keep saying that defenses are the biggest thing. If you have the best defense in Serie A, you're the best defenders. You're the best in the league. Inter's defense is Acerbi, Pavard, Augusto, or Darmian. The reason why Inter has one of the best defenses in the league is because of their midfield. Their midfield does not let anything through to that back line because you have
100%.
Chanaloglu, Barella, and Mkhitaryan playing absolutely out of their mind. Because, like, for example, Pavard, you know Pavard quite well from Bayern Munich. He's not
Dude,
anything crazy.
the man, yeah, but you know what? The man is a tank. Like he's not like great on the ball. Like sometimes he has a wonder goal like in his right foot, but he is basically just a great defender, and he can play right back or center back, and that's why he is perfect. Like for Inter, because he can play the right-sided center back and the three-man back line, where he fits perfectly. Like Inter, every single position is set up to perfection. Like every single player they get fits perfectly their idea of football, and that's what is the difference from them to us. We play the same formation, but sorry, Gatti is, for example, not as good as Pavard. I love like I don't know. Do you take Cambiaso or Dumfries, for example? Is it a toss up right now?
I think it's a
I
toss
we
up. I think it
we
is.
love we love Cambiaso, and I think I would take Cambiaso for the youth, but it's a toss up. DiMarco or Kostic or Eiling Jr.
DeMarco clears easy. Easy.
Barella, Mkhitaryan, Fratesi, dude, that midfield in comparison to our midfield.
That's not a contest.
Lautaro Martinez or Dusan Vlahovic.
You take Martinez despite the penalty miss.
Marcos Thuram or Federico Chiesa.
You take Thuram for his creativity. Like it's
I'm I'm sorry. Hey, we can even go to the goalkeeper, Jan Sommer or Szczesny.
Summer's got one of the best save records in Italy right now.
The man has unbelievable reflexes. He's
Yes.
also not the greatest like goalkeeper with his ball at his feet, but his reflexes are better than Szczesny, and Szczesny's are good already, and he's a tiny bit better than Szczesny. So he is like not the best goalkeeper in the world, but sorry, but he's also better than Tech. On every single position, they are better set up than we are.
The only team that I think that we're
But
comparable to.
sorry. Danilo's playing right now, the left central defender. I love Danilo, and he is an unbelievable captain, and I love him. But Danilo or Bastoni? We
You take
hate
Bastoni.
Bastoni above
You take
Bastoni above everything. But who would you take?
You have to take Bastoni because of his versatility and his
Yeah.
mobility. Bastoni can go from touchline to touchline without any issue.
The only player that I would take over there is I take Bremer over Acerbi, and that's it. That's the only position that we have an advantage on.
Yeah. And it's just their midfield is compensating for their
And by
defense.
the way, that guy will get sold, and we will very likely get worse at that position as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes to show though, I
11
think though.
sorry, just one last sentence. So 11 on 11 positions, we are worse than Inter.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that's really making that team tick, because it's not Inzaghi revolutionizing the game, it's that midfield. If that midfield is gone, Inzaghi gets sacked easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, Inzaghi isn't a great coach, isn't this amazing tactician. It goes more to what Beppe Morata put in front of him.
Yeah.
It really is.
That
Like, for example, Beppe
team
Morata
is
to me
perfect.
never ceases to amaze me with his squad
Yeah.
composition.
Yeah.
And you know, the ball's going to be in Giuntoli's court this summer. I'm
Yeah.
going to heavily and
Yeah.
for all due respect
Yeah.
and purposes, folks, if he flops this summer, that's it. That's honestly it. Like Giuntoli has to hit this summer on his pieces.
Yeah.
And especially if you're getting a new coach, if you're getting a Thiago Motta, you need to hit on the market because you run the risk of not qualifying for top 4 or top 5.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be, one of those very, very scrutinized. I've never really been that scrutinizing as far as Mercados go, except the one season that we lost against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. That's where I'm like, hey, we need to figure something out here. Besides this summer, because the other ones I've kind of understood and like I know where we're going, but like for example, Juntoli, this one's going to be it, man. Either you pull it off this summer or set, you set the correct stones in place, or we're going to be in a really tough situation. I'm not saying that, we need to win the title, right?
Yep.
Like that's not the expectation for next season. But we need to make sure that we lay the foundational pieces. And the first thing is we need players with experience. Vlad says, I know that Dash had a field day and tomorrow and went ham on my boy Ducey. I don't think I went too hard on him, did I?
Oh, I went hard on him. It wasn't Dash.
German Dave went hard. I was just throwing in things where it's like every time he does the t-shirt celebration, he sucks for a month. Yep. Every single time.
Oh, I went pretty hard on him. Pause.
No diddy. So one of the news things that kind of dropped earlier this morning was that Jorginho has offered himself to Juve as the player's agent is exploring ways to bring him back into Italy.
Please.
I don't. So, like for example, this is coming from Tutto Sport. I don't know how credible that's going to be.
No, it's of course with a grain of salt. And dude, the agents are talking to every club. He offered himself to Juve. He offered himself to Saudi Arabia 100% as well. Players, agents. It is the job of the agents to man, what is it called? To look at the market and to offer the themselves, because they have to look at the options, of course. Yeah.
I kind of want to look at some of the comments here. So people are saying every year, same story, been 5 years, sports, recycle the same lie. I don't think he's leaving London. Arsenal will activate the 1-year option clause. Saying he's horrible in French. This person, no, expensive old players is not what we need. I still remember when he skied the penalty against Switzerland that made us miss the World Cup. It's like, dude, have you not been watching him at all and watching us? Like, holy smokes.
Do you know that penalty taking is the least of our problems right now?
I know. I don't care about penalty taking. Non-poster says, if this is true, massive. Go for it. He's a regular starter for the best team in the Prem. Probably the agent just trying to get a new contract, though, which will suck. Jorginho.
And by the way, for the best defensive and also attacking Premier League team, he starts for them. Just say, like both his phases, he's great at. So.
Juntoli, if you want to gain some brownie points, I would purchase this. But like, for example, also because that also broke this morning, because this comment here says Jorginho, Alberto, and Anderson all on free transfers is good business. Strengthens 3 areas without spending 60 million on one player. Allows funds to be invested in other areas. Could you imagine if we were to get Jorginho, Alberto, and Anderson?
Yeah. That would be great.
It's possible.
Hey, and there's talk about Zakani. Can you imagine him as the left winger as well?
All of them, essentially,
or at least him basically a rotation of him and Yildiz on the left, and on the right Felipe Anderson and Chiesa. Dude, would that cook or not?
That would cook. And then you have Alberto and Jorginho feeding passes through the midfield.
Thank you. That would be a perfect Mercado that Juntoli would get an A for me.
That would be insane. If you were to get just those 3 players. If you and people, it's old, they don't want old guys. Well, look at how the youngest Juve is doing for you right now. These guys are playing like pussies. You need older guys that know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Like I don't like, seriously, man. Like, we don't have old players on the roster besides Kostic and Danilo, and Kostic is already out the door. And Sandro's already out the door. What? Szczesny's old? Szczesny's a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers have a longer shelf life than anything. You need some older guys. You need some experienced players that know what to do and how to handle situations. Maybe even SMS, right? Like, because I know Vlad's a big proponent for SMS, right? That would be anything.
I will take him. any of these midfielders that you mentioned, I take them in a second. And just to answer to Boyan's message, brother, Luis Alberto made it offered himself as an option, and Lotito said, "F that, no, show me the money and you can have it." But hey, we will see about that one. But I at 100% trade also every single midfielder we have right now for.
Yeah, Alberto wants to terminate his contract. He wants to, even though he just signed a 4-year deal, he's trying to, omit his contract and
Dude, why
Lotito.
are these? Hey, hold up. Let me go for a second on how idiotic Lazio's players are. What is wrong in your damn mind that you always sign these contract extensions that glue you to that damn club and that damn CEO, Lotito?
That's the same thing with
Dude,
SMS.
with SMS, they are signing goddamn 4 and 5 year contracts, and after 1 year want out. Dude, you signed the contract. I want them on the free as well, but why in God's name do you sign those contract and want out a year after that? Then don't sign the contract and be
Do
for a
what
free transfer.
Anderson's doing.
Yeah, and this happens especially at Lazio, every year, one of their players signs a contract extension for 3 years, and then no, hold up, let me go after this year.
I don't know. Is there some back office things that Lotito's doing where he's like, "Oh,
Dude,
if you
I
don't
don't know.
sign, you're not going to play. You're not going to play
Dude, I
anymore
don't
if you
know,
don't."
some mafioso stuff or whatever.
Like I'm sitting here, I'm like,
But
if I'm
why
SMS,
are they signing these contracts? I don't
yeah.
understand it.
Well, it's the same thing with Alberto and SMS. Like, you guys are clearly at a tier above. Why are you still staying at Lazio?
Dude, Mbappe has PSG in a chokehold since 5 years because he's signing always 1-year extensions only. He can do whatever the F he wants. That's how you manipulate your club and
Like,
not signing a 4-year contract
are
and want out after 1 year.
are these players afraid that no one else is going to give them a $2 million a season contract? Where I'm pretty sure if you go anywhere else, they'll give you a double. Like here's the funny thing. Like I don't know if Lotito has pictures
And
of these
offer you
guys or
and offer you a better supporting cast and everything on the team as well.
I don't understand this. Like I still don't understand. Maybe there's a way that Alberto can find a way to get out of his contract.
Or he has naked pictures of them or something.
He has to. Maybe that's one of the things because if you've ever noticed, players come into Lazio but they never leave.
Oh,
They
yeah.
rarely leave unless they're really old. Or if, Saudi Arabia gives Lotito
Yeah.
money. That's the only way I've seen a Lazio player leave.
And by the way, I'm happy we still got around 20 million euros from them for Rovella and Pellegrini, who aren't playing minutes.
Remember how everyone was saying that we're going to regret trading Rovella over and we were all kind of that's not possible. I don't think that, Rovella is going to be this amazing player that everyone kept saying.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. He's terrible.
Dude,
Terrible.
dude, brothers, again. Hold up. Let me look how many minutes he played. You just go cook, and I come with the stats to you in a second.
Oh, I had just whoops. I was responding to a text the same time too.
So the brother played 19 games out of how many how many games are we on right now?
31, 32.
He played 19 games, only 14, 1,170.
Yeah, it's not good at all. We haven't gotten the money yet, as Vlad's saying. Yeah, it's going to be in 2025, but we still fleeced him out of that. So yeah, for me, it's I look at these.
Dash, just 1 second. That means he played only 30 minutes per game this season.
That's just funny.
dude, and we get to cash in 20 million from Lazio. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know, Vlad. It is a 2-year loan, but hey, they'll still have to give us the money. So I don't care.
And he says Ravella
Yeah,
had an injury.
I
And we know he's injury prone. That was
No,
one of the
I
arguments that we had.
know. And that's why we are happy that we still get some money for him.
Because if he stayed and he was injured like this, you'd be lucky to get anything over 5. But all right, I think we can call it.
Yeah, hold up. Vlad said he got an assist off the bench in the last game. Yeah, that is his only assist the whole season. So I don't know if you proved anything or whatever, but yeah, that was his only.
No, you want to
assist.
know. You want to know what Vlad is trying to prove. Vlad is doing all of this shithousery because he wants this.
You just wake up and then your heart is just pumping. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so those moments are crazy.
Vlad is only here for the Lukaku clip. That is it.
Oh yeah.
But all right, because technically we did more of a day after. So Dave and I, because we've filmed almost every day this week, we're gonna go on a couple of days on rest. We'll be back for the Tinfoil Hat Show on Wednesday. Obviously, if something really huge news breaks, we can probably hop on, do a quick video, or do something live if something big breaks. But I really doubt it. But anyways, we will be back on Wednesday, guys. So obviously remember, like and subscribe if you're catching the replay. If you're doing it live, like and subscribe because, Canadian Dave is probably watching in the shadows and he'll get pissed if you don't. Vlad coming in with the final thought of the stream here saying, I think giving Ravella away was bad business. We got nothing in return. We had no other option to Loca, and that's why we're suffering. Originally, it was supposed to be Fajuli, but he got busted for gambling. Same thing for Pogba. I think that move was done in prior sight of those two being idiots. But knowing Lotito, he wouldn't even let him go. But anyways,
don't forget
guys,
to acknowledge your tribal chief.
Acknowledge your tribal chief, like and subscribe, and we shall catch you guys back on Wednesday, and Dave will be back in about a week and a half. All right, folks, we'll see you later.